Hey, welcome everybody to Fresh. My name is Nia Malika Dixon. I'm an independent filmmaker here in Los Angeles. I'm originally from Baltimore, and I am a Black Muslim woman. And I am so excited to talk to you today all about Mare of Easttown. So far in our series of Story Lab, we have been going over several different television series on different streaming platforms, including comedy, including fantasy, sci-fi, action, drama, and last week we did Ted Lasso, which was pretty awesome. We also had Blind Spotting, which kind of defies genre, in my opinion. It's just great television, great storytelling. And so this week we're talking about a straight up slow burn detective series, a little neo-noir, kind of my favorite genre in drama, which is mystery, and the detective series. And HBO seems to do a really good job with these. True Detective being one of their best. And I am just going to jump right into it. Basically, what we do in this broadcast is talk about what makes the series great and why it's so entertaining, so that not only we can enjoy the storytelling, but also as creatives, we can pull from it and learn how to make ours even better, because you know, they set the bar high when it comes to television storytelling. And Mare of Easttown is one of the best series that I've talked about in this series of videos on Instagram. And some of my favorite coming from HBO, including I May Destroy You. What can I say? They know how to get it right. And this one stars Kate Winslet. And she's starring as a detective in a small town in Pennsylvania. And one of the things that really stands out to me with this show is that it's so well grounded in the world in which it exists. And that's one of the cool things about the show, is that it transports you somewhere else, you know, and that's what good storytelling should do. And one of the other series that did a good job with transporting you to another world was Blind Spotting, which I did mention. And this one does a really great job as well. When you're in this story, Mare of Easttown, Easttown being the fictional town we're in, you get to know right away what the culture of the town is. And it's not necessarily based on any particular people demographic. From what we see, from what we experience, the culture of the town is dictated by the economics of the town. It's a working class town, and everybody's pretty much on the same level playing field. And one of the things that really jumped out to me, though, that I felt like I needed to say something about was the racial disparities. So there's not that many black people in the town, but you know what? That's not really off for this particular kind of town where they're based. So it's a working class town, majority white working class people. Although there are some black people in the town, the culture is still dictated by economics. Everybody's on the same economic level. And it's a very well-grounded world. We get to know our main character right away, Mare. She's every woman, and she's self-deprecating. She's very much well aware of all her flaws, as we get to see throughout the course of the series. But in the beginning, we get to like her because she comes to the rescue of an old lady, pretty much. A woman just calls her on her cell phone and, hey, welcome to the broadcast. And she's a detective, but she still goes to this elderly woman's home to check out what the woman thinks is a peeping Tom. And that kind of sets the whole tone for the series. And we follow Mare on her journey. It's a pretty much slow burn, as most noir detective stories are. And we don't right away jump into the detective series, the mystery of the show. We get to know who these characters are. And in the course of getting to know Mare, we get to know her family, we get to know her friends. And when she winds up at work, we also get to know there's some backstory on her as a detective. So there is an ongoing mystery of an unsolved missing person who happens to be the daughter of her high school teammate. She was on the basketball team. Which also leads us into why Mare is a bit of a local celebrity, is because she's one of the team members of this locally famous basketball team in her high school. But fast forward to now, she's just a regular, everyday, on-the-job detective. And that pretty much sums up, how we get started. However, there's more to that mystery as we finally get to see later on, which connects to this, the pertinent mystery, which is the murder of this young girl. And so what I really love about this detective series is up front, we get to know who these viable suspects are. And there are so many red herrings. There's so many characters who could be the killer. And that is what makes it such a great detective story. So the mystery is that this young girl is murdered. Welcome to the broadcast. And there are so many people in the town, even though it's a small town, everybody's connected, from the ex-boyfriend to the ex-boyfriend's bitchy girlfriend to at one point we as the audience start to even suspect her father, which is kind of crazy. But that's a credit to the writers. If you're writing a mystery and anybody could be the suspect, you're writing a good mystery. And that is one of the things that I love about Mare of Easttown. One of the other things I like are the characters. So every character is different. Every character is so nuanced. And all these characters have some stake into what happened to this girl who turns up murdered. And there's always a question at the end of the episode as to, wait, maybe they did it, which is great writing. So all the characters seem one way, but turn out to be another, including the characters who are there to support Mare, her best friend, the chief of police, and then the visiting detective that comes in to help her with the investigation. And so we're taking on this wild goose chase. We're taking on this roller coaster ride. Not only do we get to know Mare as a person, but we get to know the town. We get to know this mystery. And we keep coming back every episode, which is what you want to happen. Now, one of the things that I did not like about the series was the way that some of these characters' story arcs unfolded, because some of them were a little bit too neat, like the boyfriend. Then the way that the real killer is discovered, it's kind of too neat as well. And I'm not going to give it away because I'm not a fan of spoilers, but I'll tell you this, it's never who you think it is. And like I said, HBO gets it right. When it comes to detective stories, you will not see it coming. But that being said, it's kind of a little bit predictable the way that it's handled. And it has a lot to do with race. And that's all I'm going to say. And the way that justice is brought in the end after the series ends, it really didn't sit right with me as a black woman, because, like I said, this is a majority of town of white people. It just plays out in such a way that you're like, dang, I went along for the ride for that. I mean, I felt some type of way. Just put it that way. But for the most part, the characters are very well fleshed out. They lead you on this journey where you get to know who is whom. And it's very much a cliffhanger at the end of every episode. And you still don't know. And me, a person who really loves mysteries, who oftentimes people who watch them with me, they get mad because I figure it out. I figure out who the killer is before the end of the show. I didn't figure it out until the final episode, actually, the second to last episode, which to me means it was so well written and all the red herrings were so well placed that I was still like, I still don't know who did it. And if you like that kind of story, you're going to love Mare of Easttown. That's really all I can say about that because I don't want to give away too much. But here's the gist of it. With detective stories, you have to have well fleshed out characters with a stake into the mystery. So, for example, even even one of the characters who you think may not necessarily have something to gain, it turns out that they did. And so I know it sounds so cryptic, but I just don't want to give it away. But here's the bottom line. When you're writing a detective story, make sure that all the characters intersect the way they do in Mare of Easttown, which is so great. And make sure that each character has their own stake and it's very well clearly laid out. And at one point, if you don't identify with the detective at some point, then there's something wrong. The whole journey on this story, it's very important for us as the audience to like the detective, even if she's not perfect, even if he or she, because like, for example, Mare does something real shady and she gets herself suspended. And that has to do with her personal life. And if we don't empathize or sympathize with her, then you're lost as an audience. So if you're creating a detective show or a detective series or a mystery and we don't identify with the detective, then you're not doing something right. Mare of Easttown really does get it right. Even though she's not 100% likable, we do empathize with her because the journey that she takes us along, where we see how much she cares about her kids, we see how much she cares about her grandson, and we definitely see how much she's willing to find the killer. Like, she's totally 100% dedicated to bringing this killer to justice, which is definitely what you want for your main character. So the nuances that are given to the police detectives in this show are just so perfect because they're layered, they're human. We get to see them as real people, not just as caricatures. For example, one of the police officers, it's a little bit of comedy injected in there, but it's really a human thing. He really gets sick at the sight of blood. I mean, that's something that, Mare makes a comment about. Like, yeah, didn't you think about that before you went into the academy? And, he has to get over that. He overcomes it eventually. But that's one of the reasons why I like the characters, is because they're actual people. And we get to see them in this small town where it's a working class town and everybody's just trying to make a living. So the nuances that are given to the police characters are great. The story itself takes you on a journey where you don't know who the killer is. That's great. And then you're very well grounded in this world, so you understand the culture, you understand the people, and the stakes are really high, and you really want to root for the detective to find the killer, and that's important too. So the slow mystery, the slow burn does keep you coming back, and even though there are red herrings and there are lots of different suspects, eventually the killer is caught. And so that's Mare of Easttown. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much, but I do want to say it was very well written, and Kate Winslet's performance is phenomenal as the Every Woman. And I love the way that the main character, Mare, she's a detective who has the same nuances given to a male detective. That is very much important to say, because a lot of times you watch a series and the detective is female and they're given all these stereotypical attributes. And I love the way that this story doesn't. She's a straight up police detective who is hunting this killer and very much dedicated to bringing him to justice. And that keeps you coming back for more. And that's it. That's it for Mare of Easttown. I really believe you'll enjoy it if you like a neo-noir, if you like a slow burn, if you like mysteries. You're going to enjoy Mare of Easttown. I'm not going to give away the ending, but I will say that I wasn't 100% satisfied. I would have made things, I would have had them turn out just a little bit differently, but justice is served, so you'll enjoy it. Check it out on HBO Max, and next week we're going to talk about a different show, and I look forward to seeing you all next week at our regular time at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time next Wednesday. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.